Hi, my name is Anthony Kemmer. I'm a sophomore here, and I did my paper and research on Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock was born in 1912 in Wyoming. His father was an alcoholic and was abusive towards him and his other siblings. This caused his father to leave them at a very young age, so he was left with his siblings and mother. Jackson then found his love for art when he was in high school. Later on, he moved to New York to go with his brother, and when he was in New York, he met Thomas Benton and kind of furthered his art to the next level. While he was in New York and working on art, Pollock also found a love for alcohol like his father. He became an alcoholic and then ended up getting help for that and going to psychiatric treatment for his alcoholism. He became, what caused his drinking was he became famous, and kind of the pressure of it caused him to keep drinking. And as he got later on in his career, he got more and more in depth with alcoholism and couldn't control it, and this later ended up causing his death in 1956 in a car crash, killing him and one other person. So Pollock's style was abstract expressionism. This is aimed towards creating emotional works of art that are followed by spontaneous acts, or also known as action painting. He used very large canvases for all of his artwork, ranging anywhere from 5 to 6 feet in width and height, all the way up to 10 to 12 and even 20 feet. What made him unique was he used his whole body to paint on these canvases and such. He, as you can see in this picture, that Joe Fig, this is actually a sculpture, a real-life sculpture that Joe Fig created. It shows how Pollock kind of put the canvases on the ground, and this gave him the advantage of working around it, seeing it from different perspectives. And so he would use anything that he had, his hands, pieces of wood, and different objects like that. He put those on the canvas, pieces of wood, cloth, and things like that to create kind of a depth to it that would give it almost like a 3D look and such. A lot of Pollock's work was very hard to understand, and this quote from Woodard stated that the misunderstandings surrounding Pollock's work, both during his time and today, largely revolve around a lack of knowledge concerning his artistic background and how he arrived at the painting style that's made him so famous and infamous. So this kind of just explains that a lot of his work, as you will see, is very kind of hard to understand. It might look like there's not much meaning to it, and it's very simple to create, it's just splattering paint on a canvas or throwing it on there and just throwing it all together. And you have to have a sense of creativity to kind of see the true meaning in his work and kind of appreciate it. So going into what my paper was on, one of the art creations that Pollock had was The Alchemy. And this was painted in 1947 by Pollock. He used the mediums used for it were oil, aluminum, paint with sand, pebbles, different fibers, wood, and this was all on commercially printed fabric. So this was 47 inches tall, so about 4 feet, and then 7.5 feet wide. So it was pretty big, as most of his paintings were. And what was unique about this that I found too, it really has no shape or form in it, but it's kind of like a whole environment in itself. And this is what a lot of his paintings had in them. They might not have had specific forms, but an environment. It kind of had no beginning or end to it. It was kind of just there. And this was, like I said, most of his work kind of related back to this, and kind of didn't have a beginning or end, but more of like a whole environment in itself. So, my opinion of Pollock's work, it's very complex and it's hard to understand. And as I was going through the research and the paper for this project, it was very confusing at times because I had to, for example, on the alchemy, I had to stare at that for probably like an hour to kind of get like a sense of understanding for it, because you do have to have a lot of creativity to see what he was trying to convey. And since it doesn't have a specific form or shape in the paintings, it's really hard to get a sense of what it is and if it's anything at all. But overall, they're very I think they're fun to look at. It's kind of chaotic, but at the same time, it has like a sense of order. And it really kind of makes you think deeply about what it could be, and gets your imagination going on what it is, and just overall makes you think about it. Oh, these are my references. Thank you guys for listening.